Hey, what's going on, guys? Tony here, CCxRC, and today on the bench we have the Super Clodbuster Black Edition. It's a 4x4x4 pickup from Tamiya. These things have been around forever. This one is, I grabbed it because it's the blacked out edition. I prefer the black parts over the blues and the reds and the yellows and other things that they've come out with in the past. Because it just comes with bushings, I do have from Crawford Performance Engineering, I have their bearing kit as well as their hex hardware kit for this. So we'll do this one up right as we put it together. And yeah, so we have that. We have the JConcepts Regulator servo mount, and this does a behind the axle steering conversion. So I'm excited to mount this on here as well. And all of that is going onto the, it's heavy, the Regulator Stage 2 Competition Chassis number 2813. This is from JConcepts, their Regulator. And this thing has some weights and stuff in there. Maybe we'll show you a quick little unboxing of this. Get your Regulator stickers, instructions. Here are your rails for it. These look really nice. Plates, and then they've also got in here, look at this weight, holy cow, that is some heft. That's going to go in the bottom, and then your arms and all that. Very nicely done, JConcepts, very cool, put together. Looks like you can paint these, stick them in, probably right in here. Anyway, we're going to put this away for now. We won't get to this for a little bit. Basically, we have to build the axles to put onto here. That's what we're going to be looking for in this box. Not going to be using the chassis, not going to be using any of the steering setup, and we may use the ESC motor and stuff because I did not order that for this. Ordered everything else. Let's see what we got. So this does come with two 540 motors, 27 turn, 13 tooth pinions. You can see the axles here, how those go together basically. Don't know that I'll be using this yet. Never say never. Chassis I won't be using. Lots of hardware in here. We're going to need this. We will be using wheels and tires. I tend to use them. They're fine. You could use JConcepts ones, but they're hard to get right now. So I'll slap these on with no foams and give myself a little suspension via my wheels. Right here's a whole goodie bag of stuff. Want that. Yeah, so these are awesome. These come with the red and black and chrome. It's very rock and roll edition. The windshield. Like a light bucket here, the grill, good stuff. I probably will use this body. I might do a sticker bomb version of this. Battery trays, stuff we're not going to use. So this will be fun. I don't know where I'm going to store all this while I work on it. All right, so we're making a little progress on our axles here. As you can see, gone ahead and I'm actually using from Team CPE here, Crawford Performance Engineering. They've got an easy removal kit for these arms on the axle, and you basically buy new hex hardware. Well, it said that you needed to tap this out ahead of time, but according to Josh Rhodes, you don't need to, and you just literally just drill them in there, and that's what we did, and they bite really good. So it's basically self-tapping its own way in. So we'll show you real quick how that works. The short one going into this side here. The bigger side of the axle can only meet one way. Where's that little hole? There it is. We take one of these screws that we have here, and basically we're just going to drill it in there and basically do that for both sets, and it's going to make removing this so easy because the way that they have it set up stock, you have to open up the axles. So if you break one of these arms, which happens a lot, if you break one of these arms, you literally have to take the axles apart, get to here in order to unscrew from the inside the way that they have it built in the booklet. So this is awesome. Get these before you do your build. All right, you guys can see I've made some progress here. This is not a how-to build video. This is just showing you what's going into my build. I've gone ahead and I've ground these ends of the axles here, this little nub off. You can see that this one still has it on it. But for the front steering, you do not want these because it limits it. And if I'm doing the JConcepts ones, I've also ground down the back of this a little bit as well, so that it will be a little bit further turning radius, because you got to put these on backwards actually for their setup. And you have to put these ones on backwards as well, but these are not going to be moving, so don't have to worry about these ones having this cut off. Normally I will cut these off anyway in case something breaks and somebody lends me one. I can take a rear one off, move it to the front, and it's already ground down. But I've got lots of spares I'm taking with me, so I'm not too worried about that. Basically, we've gone ahead and assembled the axles. I still have to put braces onto this one. Ended up getting a really bad headache last night. Had to call it quits a little bit early, but it's coming together. So got to install our motor here, and still have to install this little brace, which I'm going to have to try and get the nut in behind it because I did not put it in ahead of time into the axle, or I may have to take this apart, which will be fun. But these definitely are nice upgrades, having these CPE parts here to just attach these outer parts of the axle with the screws from the outside. Wonderful. Anyway, that's a quick update on this. I'm going to go ahead and start assembling this, and we'll get back to the video here when we do move over to the JConcepts Regulator build. But a lot of my parts are still here that I need. I don't have to assemble a lot of the other stuff. This is basically what I'm going to need with these axles and attachments added here, and we'll be good to go. Alrighty, at this point, got the axles all done. Got a big mess here on the table to clean up. And I've got my ESC. Go ahead and I'm going to put new ends on it because I don't run the Tamiya plugs for anything. So we've already cut them off, and we're going to get these all tinned up. And I have these EC3 connectors that we're going to use for the battery right here. All right, guys, next up we are at the point where we're going to build our chassis. The axles are completed here. I actually had to take them apart because I forgot to put a nut in to the axle, which is kind of a total bummer. Wasn't too bad, just a few screws, popped it apart. So I got this one nice and locked in there. This comes from Crawford Performance as well. So there are upgrades going around. I already, watching the JConcepts video, went in and dremeled out the axles here in order to get more clearance, because your steering actually goes reversed from what it normally would. So you want the low side down. I didn't realize that actually, and so I actually ground this one way further than I needed to. So we'll see how it holds up, because it did kind of cut through a little. I still think it's strong enough. I'm going to leave it. I've got so many of these arms. I'll just have another one dremeled out and ready to go to put in here and swap out if I need to, if this one breaks. So yeah, I'll do the Dremel work now, but not going to do the switch out because I don't have a whole lot of time. So that is ready. Next thing we're going to do is open up this and get it ready to go. Regulator. I watched the video for the install already. As you can see from the manual, it is pretty straightforward as far as how it all goes together. Screw kits here, gives a list of all the parts, how to install the chassis plates, the ball studs you need from the original kit, which we have all of that, and so we'll pull that all out. It does give you these spacers here that you're supposed to use right here on the bottom side underneath these ball studs, and so we got to make sure that we put these in. That way we don't have to grind the tip off of that ball stud. So that is good to know. Oh, these are cool looking. It looks almost like a dart like a throwing dart. These are going to be your basically your braces across the chassis. I like the look of them. Next up, what we have is the axles would go in here and mount onto these guys right here. Shocks would come down to these arms, going in these two holes. Either one, I'll probably do the front, and furthest on the rear as well. There's a metal bracket that clamps this onto right here. Goes behind this and screws it on to here to hold it in place. But all of this I've done for this other kit right here, which is the regulator servo mount. And this also does the rear lockout, which it also does from the inside as well. So it's interesting how they do this. All right, now I'm just quickly going to break in the motors here, have them hooked up to the ESC, and I've set my throttle all the way, well, not all the way to the reverse, but I've turned down. They go a little faster if I wanted. I keep a constant speed on them and just go through this battery pack. Let it clean out. All right, you guys, this has been a messy build, and I'm not going to try and fake it like it's been easier or cleaner than it actually is or has been. The desk is a mess. Lots going on here. Getting ready for the races. We're just going to show it as is, and not trying to make it look all pretty, because it's not been a pretty process. We've been blending a couple of different kits here, so we've got different parts from all of them. I've got this Bigfoot body that I got from Joshua Sanford. Probably a year and a half ago now with the USA 1, and so that's what I've now mounted on here. I did have to drill out the top a little bit more to make it reach, so the holes are a little bigger than I'd like, but the body's ready to go, and now it is as well. So it is what it is. It'll work. As you can see, the chassis is now completed. We have installed almost all of our electronics. We don't have the servo in yet. Give you a quick once around of this chassis now that it's done. You can see how nice these parts look on here with that little black bling that they've added. I really dig that look. I really dig this look that they've done here. I do still think it feels like a throwing dart and looks like one. It's very cool. Battery tray, as best I can figure out, that's how it goes. I'll probably put Velcro underneath too, just to keep it from sliding side to side. It's locked front to back. Honestly, it's not going to come out, but just keeping it stationary is the goal. And probably if I strap this down tight enough, I would. But one of my batteries is too thin, and it needs the Velcro under it anyway. So easy enough fix for that. The bottom, you can see here, this is the JConcepts steering module for the behind the axle steering, and required a little bit of grinding to get a little bit more turn. But overall, everything's kind of mounted up here good. You can see how these clipped on the bottom, screwed in here on the side. Everything fit and finish feels real good. Again, here the fiberglass lockout in the rear came with the steering kit from JConcepts. On the front here, you can see it as well. Ties in on the bottom, so you have to kind of do things a little different than you're used to doing. Turning these around, but basically swapping them so that they're backwards on the other side. Keep the low side down, and it mounts right up here on the top. That bracket holds your servo in. So we're going to go ahead and finish installing the servo. It's going to allow me to pop this up. Going to want to not lose this bearing that just fell out. And right in here, we're going to be able to drop our servo here. So we're going to take a look. I think that's the right direction, yes. Got my servo horn here. There's a couple pieces that we need to put on here for it. So I just have a Protect one. Tighten it down. All right, well, this is definitely not plug and play. I did get a servo horn here. Had to take it to the grinder and grind off the end of it because it was too long. So this is better. This is tighter. I'll coil all this up. Right there. Slide it off. Just gives it a little cleaner look to it, in my opinion. All right. That's the whole area for the tray. Go ahead and slap the battery in here and we'll give it a test run and see how it does. Alrighty, there it is, you guys. All buttoned up, ready to go out and give it its first test run. Let's do it.